What is up, guys? As most of you most likely know, it's been about a week's time span since the PS4's launch, which means I've had a week's time, to have my hands on with my new console and formulate, some thoughts and impressions on it. And for those wondering why there isn't any PS4 gameplay in this video, this is The Last of Us, a PS3 game. It has to do with the fact that Sony decided to put some HTPC on their console, which basically means any external recording device, Elgato, Hapag, AverMedia, won't work until they patch it, which apparently they've said they'll patch it to make it work, which is cool. It probably has to do with the fact that trying to promote their little share thing, and I guess just start talking about the whole share thing on the PS4, which Sony's been pretty big and vocal about. When it comes to sharing, you can basically record clips of gameplay, take screenshots, and you can even live stream on Twitch and Ustream. But I mean, when it comes to the streaming quality compared to external devices, it certainly isn't exactly going to sway anyone not to get an external device, because it simply put doesn't look very good compared to when I stream with an external device like my Hapag or my Elgato. And I mean, it's kind of cool that everyone has access to the option to stream or whatever, but the quality just isn't very good. The video clip thing, I'm not really sure how that works. I haven't actually recorded a video clip to see what the quality is, and if you upload to YouTube or whatever. I haven't really tried that out. Screenshots actually look very good. I've taken some screenshots of some gameplay, and I've uploaded to Twitter, and I've sent it to people, via messages on PSN, and it looks fairly good from what I've seen. And I think it's pretty cool that you can take pictures. I can take a snapshot and directly message somebody with that snapshot pretty much instantly, and that has to do with how quickly the UI is. But when it comes to streaming and video recording, it's cool that everyone has access to those options now, and I think it's gonna really be good in terms of the competitive gaming scene, since now everyone can take screenshots, record more or less, even if the quality isn't that great. It only benefits the competitive scene quite a bit, and it promotes the social aspect of online gaming, which is a positive as well. But it certainly isn't going to be putting any of these external capture device companies out of business, that's for sure. And when it comes to the physical form factor of the PS4, it's a very well designed console. I mean, I really like the sharp angle thing. It looks very slick compared to my old fat PS3 over there, which basically looks like a giant grill. And most people would argue looks better than the Xbox One, since that thing looks like a giant old 80s VCR. But I mean, one thing I do have a problem with the design is the front slit. There's the where you put the disc in, and then there's like two USB ports. The slit is so thin, it kind of limits what type of USBs you can plug in. Like basically I have like a roundish USB, and that won't fit, but I do have a thinner USB and more flatter, and of course that'll fit. But I think it's a little odd that they kind of limited what type of USBs you can basically plug in there, and that's a strange, odd design choice of Sony. But I'm sure they'll change it with future design models. Well, I hope they will anyway, to have accommodate people to have more room. But that's one also strange, notable difference between the PS4 and the PS3 is the fact that USB, and plugging stuff in, looking at your pictures and music and stuff, that doesn't really work with the PS4 currently. I'm sure they'll patch it in the future, and that was a prominent feature of the PS3. But unfortunately, the PS4 cannot, open those picture files you'll have on your USB and music and stuff for now. Hopefully that'll change. And I mean, as most of you most likely have heard, there's been a lot of praise about Sony's new redesign of the DualShock 4. And I have to say, for the most part, I have to agree with how well designed the new controller is. I mean, playing it just feels so much more comfortable. They improved the triggers dramatically. The sticks are very reminiscent of the 360 sticks, which is a good thing. And the D-pad and the face buttons remain the same, and that wasn't really an issue. And like I said, it feels a little bit bigger, a little bit weightier, just a little bit. It feels more comfortable on the hands. They have a little bit more of a grippy feel on the back instead of like that smooth plastic that's basically on the DualShock 3. And I haven't really had any desire to go back to my PS3 controller. And fortunately enough, the PS3 does support DualShock 4, and honestly, I think I'd rather play on my PS3 when I go back to it with the DualShock 4 than the DualShock 3. It's really that good of a controller design, and it's arguably up there with the Xbox 360's design. And another thing that really struck me was the fact that the noise level of the PS4 is much quieter in comparison to my PS3. Like the PS3 was not exactly the most silent creature in my entertainment setup, but the PS4, it does make a little bit humming noises every now and then with games and something loading or something, but it's actually a fairly silent beast, and I was expecting it to be fairly loud, but I was pleasantly surprised. It is a very quiet console, which is a good thing, and very impressive that Sony managed to pull that off. Now, when it comes to the new XMB, the new I, there's a lot of good things to talk about, but there's some strange additions that I don't really find meaningful. For example, the what's new thing. It's basically like a little like updater thing that shows what people on your friends list have been doing, like trophies they've unlocked, if they've made new friends, they set a new record or something. Like this sort of thing, I kind of wish I could toggle off because it's kind of just taking up room, and it's not even very well designed. Most of the windows notifying you of these things with all your friends and stuff, the size of the squares kind of varies and stuff. There's no real consistency. And I mean, honestly, I kind of would care, like, when someone's broadcasting, if that's on the what's new, that'd be cool, because, if a friend's broadcasting something, like streaming, I'd want to see and know that. If they shared, like, an image on Twitter or something, that's kind of cool. But I don't really need to know every time one of my friends has unlocked a new trophy or something or set a new record. This I don't really find particularly relevant. And we'll just have to wait and see what they do with it, because I do feel like the physical design of it isn't that great either. If they want to have something like that, like a little feed like that, I feel like they should take a look at Twitter and see how small and compact it is, and of course you can click on it and expand it. I feel like they should take a look at Twitter's live information feed design and more or less copy that, which, like I said, it's a very good design on Twitter's part to have like that little small compact news feed more or less with tweets and stuff when you go there. And I feel like if Sony wants to make the whole what's new thing kind of like a news feed for what your friends on PSN have been doing, I feel like they should definitely take a look at Twitter's design for that and more or less take some inspiration, copy it. There's no shame in doing something that has already been done incredibly well by Twitter. And one other thing that's great about the new UI is the fact that we finally have true multitasking, which God knows the PS3 could never pull off. I mean, I remember going into XMB and certain games and it would just lag like hell. Sending messages would take ages. I mean, when you were in a voice party thing or whatever, that's our excuse on the PS3, you couldn't even message people. You couldn't look at attachments on messages and stuff, and you can do all of that and more. Basically, I mean, I could be playing a game, I could take a screenshot really quick, and I can instantly send a screenshot with a message to somebody on their Vita, on their PS4, and on their PS3. Which is great. And then, of course, I can open up the browser while playing games, something unheard of I could never have done on the PS3. Like I said, it's just great. I mean, it's very much, everything kind of referred to as an app. And even the messaging is streamlined quite a bit. If you look at the messaging on the PS4, it very much looks like the texting messaging feed that I have on my iPhone, more or less, which I think is good because, it's a very nice design, of course. And I think it's much better than the PS3s, which you'd message someone and then they'd reply and it would have like an already dot. That the days of that are gone. It's very much texty looking, which is great. And when it comes to the big thing that everyone's talking about that isn't really that particularly big since it's been around since the Xbox 360 is we finally have party chat, which basically means I can be playing Killzone, you could be playing something totally different, and we could be in a party chatting, talking, even messaging each other, much like Skype. And I think it's cool that we finally have that since the 360s basically had that for a while. I mean, this is a last gen thing, and it's kind of cool that Sony finally caught up. I mean, it took them long enough, but this is only gonna help the PS4 in the long run. Finally, we can socialize in this level, since the PS3 was a pretty archaic online network for socializing, and how people could do it on there was truly beyond me. But I mean, this is a games console, and what really matters here is the games. And the games I've been playing more or less are Killzone, which I personally have enjoyed quite a bit, Assassin's Creed, which I've also enjoyed quite a bit, surprisingly, even though I felt like the series was getting kind of stale. One thing to note is Killzone Shadowfall, it looks gorgeous. It really does look like a very next-gen game, whereas Assassin's Creed is very much kind of like Call of Duty Ghosts, more or less, kind of a port of a current-gen game. Like Assassin's Creed 4 really doesn't look all that much better or drastically different from the current-gen PS3 360 version, outside of having a little bit more effects with the rain and stuff, and a little bit nicer looking. But it's clearly an optimized version of a last-gen game, which is kind of unfortunate. And of course, now you have to play online with the PS4 with PlayStation Plus, and I mean, some people are going to be bummed out that now online play it isn't free or whatever, which was kind of a big thing on the PS3. But considering the quality service that PlayStation Plus is and how many freebies you get from it, right off the bat you get like Resogun for free, which is developed by the guys who made Superstar. That's HD, which was awesome. And you get Warframe or whatever. There's tons of free things you get with PlayStation Plus, and PlayStation Plus is a value, I would say. Even now, if you get PlayStation Plus on the PS4 and you want to get some free PS3 games or Vita games, you can do that. Like I said, PlayStation Plus is a great value, and it's only going to benefit consumers. Whereas I'd argue Xbox Live, which is $10 more, doesn't really pack that same level of value. So honestly, when it comes to paying to play online, I really have no real qualms with it. But I mean, one other thing I kind of don't like about the new UI is the fact that everything's kind of like app based. Like there's the apps across the little like slider thing, XMB thing you used to have. And unfortunately, there's no real way to sort my games. Like I said, you kind of install them on your XMB thing and they're just there. But I kind of wish I could sort them into a library or something, because they're just kind of there. And of course there's the TV and video features, so I can get my Netflix on and stuff, and the internet browser. And I kind of wish I could sort them in an order, like a priority order, more or less, since you can kind of do that with the Xbox One's interface from what I've seen. And I think Sony should incorporate that, so I can organize my XMB to my personal preferences, more or less. But we'll just have to wait and see. I'm assuming these are things that are down the pipeline for the PS4. But overall, I've been very, pleased with my PS4. I haven't even gone back to my PS3, which, truth be told, I probably will, because there are a lot of games I want to finish on the PS3. And unfortunately, the PS4 isn't backwards compatible, which kind of blows. But I've been enjoying my PS4 quite a bit. Like I said, I know a lot of people out there. I've been surprised how many people don't have it. And for those wondering, like, who've added me recently, if I have been offline, that's another weird thing I kind of want to note, is the fact that when you're on your PS3, it's like PS4 people don't exist. Like, they don't show up on your friends list, whereas, the PS4 and the Vita, they communicate excellently. Like, I've even been in a party chat with someone on their Vita, and I was, like, chatting with them on my PS4. Whereas the PS3, if somebody sends me a message, like a PSN message from their PS3, it actually says sent from the PS3, but if I'm online on my PS4, people on PS3 don't see it, which I find a little bit strange, because I've been online basically all week and I've asked people, and it's like, yeah, on the PS3 it says you haven't been online for a week, which is a little bit weird. But that's about it for my thoughts on the PS4. Mostly positive. There are some issues, more or less, but I'm curious as to what you guys think. If you guys even have a PS4, what's your experience and thoughts on it? Leave your thoughts and comments below. And that's it for this video. I'll see you guys later. Peace.